Hello. So today we're going to talk about a video migration. And so I will share with you a hack that I had, old school, back in the days when it was just irritating to me to see that if I included videos within my Canvas pages or quizzes, discussions, announcements, that what would happen is that students would get a little block with ads or more videos. It would be at the bottom. Sometimes whenever they pause the video, they would pop up, or they would pause at the, or they would show up at the end of the video. And that's very annoying to me because I sort of want to keep my students within Canvas and my course. I don't want to provide a distraction that's going to take them outside of my course. So if the pop-up videos, they don't show students the videos that I watch. It shows them the more videos that are already something they watch. They're really into cat videos. That's what they're going to see. When we're really into something, we don't need too much of a provocation to just kind of dive in. So, what we're going to talk about today, and this recording will live here in this page, is how to migrate embedded YouTube videos in Canvas to Studio for distraction-free viewing. That's the main focus right here. We will touch a little bit on how to do this with videos you already have, how to do this with new videos you want to incorporate. Also, we will cover how to take a look at the your studio collection, um, and if you want, how to incorporate little pop-up quizzes within the video. You have the option to take a look at interactions, meaning that you can enable the video so that students can comment if you want. You can keep that, closed, which is what I do. But you can also go into Studio regardless of how you set it up for the student view, and you can see all the interactions. So you can see how many times the students come into the video and how much of the video they view. All right, and as I mentioned, that is going to be right here, and I have a little Canvas guide there for you. All right, so let's take a look. Um, yes, admit, definitely. Hi, Mark. Let me move you down here so I can see you a little bit closer to. Hi. So I've already begun to record. I'm going to give you this link. It's to I'm going to copy that, give that to you in chat. It is to this page within Canvas, which reminds me that I should probably publish it so you can see what we're doing here. The video that we're recording will go here. And in essence, I was just explaining what we hope to cover today. And so let me ask you, Mark, do you have issues with videos popping up with more video examples or sharing ads or anything like that in your videos?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. And am I your only one here today?
You are.
I hope I don't I don't want to make you stay if you have to if it's it's too much for you to do for one person.
No, it's a pleasure.
Oh, great, great. Thank you. I'm always interested in the kind of seminars you're putting on here. Yeah, the thing is the reason I was attracted to this also was I was looking through some of your older videos that you did, and you had one that was similar about basically adding some HTML code into the embed code so that it wouldn't show up the ads. And I was trying to do that, and it wasn't quite working. And so I thought, I I'm not sure how to do that. I want to make sure because I know the way I do it now is I put the YouTube video in, and then the ads are there, and I want to just get rid of the ads.
Hmm,
And
hmm.
I want to figure out how to do that so that the students don't have to, get subjected to even more advertising, while they're
Right, right. And I mentioned at the top of this video that one of the things that irritate me as dictator Monica of my course is that I want to capture my students and hold them in my course. I
right.
want them to move on to the next bit of content or quiz or assignment instead of having the distraction of moving on because those more video ads are for things that they already are into.
Right.
And I
Right.
can tell you that's just that's a rabbit hole of just going down the deep end. You could spend
Exactly.
hours, and I don't want them to move away. I want them to stay. So
Right.
let me show you. I'm going to move into a
Okay.
course. This is a dummy course. Well, I call it a dummy course, but it's all fleshed out. It just doesn't have any students.
Mhm.
And so with this video, this is my own video that I put in YouTube. As I pause, you notice it doesn't come up with any of those, the banners, right?
Right.
And I'm going to
Yes.
show you in HTML how that looks. So I'm going to move down. I'm in edit. I move down to the code, the HTML code toggle, uh, less than symbol slash greater than symbol. And, our eyes adjust to then recognizing code. And I know that you're an expert here, but I'm mentioning it for those who may view this video later. And so our eyes will adjust to looking for certain things. For videos or anything that we place in a frame within YouTube, we need to look for iframe. And this is in number 2. You can see it runs all the way to the close for that, which is the less than slash P greater than symbol. And so right here within this, and I'm going to make this a little bit larger so you can see. Right after the source, SRC source equals, and it tells you where it's coming from, this YouTube video. This is going to be the actual link, the YouTube link. Everything else kind of shares the width, the height, if it has allows full screen, if there's autoplay, all of that. But what the
Yes.
snippet that I include is this right here. And it's tucked right under the YouTube link and the end quote. And I'm going to go ahead and come in here so you can see it. And it is a question mark, REL equals 0. And again, where that snippet is embedded is between the actual YouTube link and the end quote. And so that will help it do that. But I've started to realize that although I could do this in the olden days with all of my videos, just all of the YouTube videos I brought in, even if they weren't mine, I'd be able to jump in, find that snippet, include it, and then I was good to go. I didn't have to worry about that, the ads. But then I
Yeah.
think YouTube got hip to our using the snippet, and I've noticed that newer or newly created videos that are not mine, right? I can't do that anymore. I will pluck it in and it just isn't taking, it isn't taking. And so I think that if I'm not that I'm lazy, but I'm kind of traditional in my learning. If this still worked for all videos, I would just continue with my process. Because I already know it. I kind of can do it blindly. But that's not been happening. So I'm like, okay, let's figure out something new. And so I will show you here. Let's see. We'll take a look at a video. You can see here, I'm all into the politics here. So let's take this one. Another tip is now YouTube is really great at if we hover over the, oh, what's it called? I'm trying to, the thumbnail of the video, we will see here that it has the CCs, and we need that for closed captioning.
Yeah.
And so that's first thing I look. If it doesn't have closed caption, it's going to be too difficult. Let me see. And then again, there's all of these ads. Oh, thank you. Okay. So I'm going to pause that. And you have probably done this as well. We go into the share. Instead of copying just the URL link here, and again, I could probably figure out all of the other things that go in that code, the width, the height, all of that other stuff. But I don't want to do all that when I can just click right here on the embed. It's again that lesser than, greater than symbol. Typically, it is gray on a light gray background, and it looks like a circle. It's the leftmost of the options that we have. I click on that. And then I will go down, and this is just practice, enable privacy enhanced mode. And then don't ask me why, because I knew at one time, and now it's just habit. I don't even remember why I do that. So there are two things that we can do. We can highlight the entire code, or we can just come down here to copy. So I'm going to click on the copy. I'm going to go back into my sort of dummy shell, click on edit. I'm going to scroll past this into a space here. I'm going to insert just a horizontal line just to give myself a break. And then I'm going to click on the insert in the rich content editor, scroll all the way to the second to the last link, and it's titled embed. It has a little cloud. So I click there. We don't have a whole lot of options here, right?
Yeah.
And instruction, no instruction. But I put my cursor inside the box and I'll paste that code, that iframe that I just
Yes.
received. And then so here you'll notice that it says question mark SI, and then it's a bunch of other stuff. So one of the things I've been playing with was like, well, let me see what happens if I get rid of this other stuff here and then put in my snippet, which is question mark REL equals 0. There are two ways to embed things. So we can do it that way by using the embed, which quite frankly is just a little bit quicker, cleaner. Or I can go ahead and click on the HTML editor toggle icon. And then this helps because then I can make sure that I'm not cutting off some other code. So I might be able to say, I want that to be at the front. I want that to be right in front of this other iframe, right? So I can go ahead, put some spaces. They probably will get removed, and then paste that iframe there. And I'm just doing this to show you. So for this one, instead of getting rid of that here, this is where I got rid of this here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to see if I can put it in here. Question mark REL equals 0. This is just so we can see, just in one example, what putting that snippet in different places might do. And then I'm going to go ahead and save. Let's see. So they both came through. They both look the same. I don't
Yeah.
see any difference in that. Let's play the first one. Pause. I have the ads, those that are so annoying. Let's see here. Pause, have the ads. So
Yeah.
that they are, but it didn't destroy the video or anything. It's refusing, if you will,
Oh,
to let me do that. All right.
interesting.
So now what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and show you how to migrate. And what we would do is we would scroll all the way to the bottom on the left hand in the course navigation menu. And let me see if I can, there we are. And we're going to click on settings. Once we click on settings, we need to go to the far right tab on the top. So we will pass course details, sections, navigation, apps, and we will click on the tab that is titled feature options. So we
Mhm.
click on that. There are a bunch of options here. You can click on these. Some of these will not hurt anything that you're doing. Some of them might. So I would be very cautious before clicking on new quizzes, for example. That's where I'd be very cautious because new quizzes are very different from
Oh,
the classic quizzes that we're using. So just cautionary tale there for anyone who's listening. And then here, student learning mastery is probably a good one to open up. Submission stickers is so much fun. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, although this class is not about that. This webinar is not about that, but I see it that it's now enabled here, and so I'm going to go at it. Oh, it won't let me. So at this college, at this district, it's not letting me enable the submission stickers, but they're a lot of fun.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're just a way to give students praise or kudos and, to be a little bit lively, even sometimes when we're giving them sort of serious feedback. But here it is. Let's circle back to what we're doing here. And what we're doing here is we're going to YouTube to studio content migration. It's the last one in our list right now. If you click on that, it will give you a description. It says what it does. Turn on YouTube to studio content migration feature, adding the scanning ability and the convert option on YouTube embeddings. So, ooh, what can it be true? We're going to click on that, and then we do get an enabled. Phew. Because I tested it out, but you just never know. Things happen, don't happen. And so notice here that we don't have a save button. That always makes me nervous because I
Yeah.
like to have save buttons. So I'm just going to click on navigation where I know there's a save button. and then I'm going to scroll to the bottom. I'm going to save. I'm going to stay in navigation to make sure, well, it booted me out of navigation, but I'm going to go back to navigation to make sure that it's actually there. And I don't know if you can see this. So at the bottom, you know how navigation has two tables. The top table is everything that's enabled, and
Okay.
most of what students can see. The bottom is what's not enabled and students cannot see. So that's why we put assignments and quizzes there. So here I see the YouTube migration, just double checking to make sure that what I did took and that I'll be able to continue and share. So I'm going to just save again. I left it where it was at the bottom. So let me go ahead and click on that. Let me see if you, it's right above settings and it's titled YouTube migration. So I'm going to click on that. And students can't see this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they can't see this. So I said that and then I'm like, I should probably do this in student view just to make sure. I don't know that it would matter because they can't edit our pages unless we let them, right?
Oh,
Yes. So here, what I'm going to do, notice the desert scene. So it's bare, right? It doesn't have anything in it. But there are two things that you can do. You can scan course by clicking on the top right-hand corner. There's a blue scan course button. And then write a little tiny link here, which I don't know who can see this, but it says scan course. Those two things do the same thing. And this, again, lets us know this tool helps you identify YouTube videos in your course that may display ads. Each row shows a Canvas page module or discussion where one or more YouTube videos were found. After migration, videos will be added to the course collection and remain as links. So no extra storage will be used. You can rescan the course anytime with the scan button. This whole no extra storage will be used is so important because a lot of times especially when we're new designers, we will embed MP4s right within Canvas as a file. And when we do that, well, they don't come out as nicely. We have to do a lot of coding to make it look nice. But
oh,
also, they live within our Canvas instance, which means that they take up a lot of space. But
I see.
but when we use something like this, it means that Canvas is not taking up all this space, right?
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and scan the course. This course does have a lot of videos, but you noticed, I mean, it wasn't even enough time for me to reach over and get my coffee. It says that it detected 50 YouTube video content, and that makes sense to me because all of my recordings, I do them in Zoom. I put them then in YouTube, and then I embed them.
Oh,
So,
okay.
so that was my little bit of a process there, mainly because I'm paranoid about losing my content. And so I want to make sure that there's a repository that maybe I control. I might not control, 4CD Instructure, Canvas Instructure courses. If I know if I retire, I think retirement, it's 2 years after retirement, then we no
Oh,
longer have access to anything, really. And so here, I'll notice that that sounds typical to me because I chunk out my videos. So it'll take me to the pages and I have these little chunked out videos. And so that makes sense to me. So let me go back here and see if now what I'm looking for is going to be that page and it was titled Meet Your Instructor, right? Typically this page only has one video, but as you recall, I added two instances of the same video here. So one of the things that I can do is I can click on that and it'll take me to the page and I see what the page is,
mhm.
or I can click on this review button on the far right-hand corner. So I'll click review and then it shows me. So I don't have to exit the the page with all of the titles. I can just go in here and it shows me. It says, well, you have this video, then you have this video, and you have this video. So I'm going to go ahead and convert the top one, and I'm going to leave the other one, just so we can have a sort of a comparison. And then
Yeah.
once that's done, I'm going to close. All right. So this is the one that I've reviewed, and I'm going to go ahead and go to Studio. So I don't think this one has Studio enabled here. in the course navigation menu, but I'm going to go into my global navigation menu and I'm going to click on that icon that has the screen monitor with like the tentacles. And what I hope to find here in my library is going to be something titled Course Collections. And so here with course collections, you can see these are all my courses. This is going to be a nightmare because I would have to find it, which means that I would have to remember what practice shell that was, so that I can find which one that was. And so I should have probably written that down because this is going to take a while to try and find just like this. So let's see here. But yeah, I'm trying to just eyeball it and see if I can find it. Let me see, is it this one? Well, this has other ones you can see, but that's not really it. Uh,
That's challenging because there's so many.
there's so many, and I don't think that it would be this much of a challenge, just, for laypersons going into their courses. So what I really should have done was probably take note, of which ones they were, because these are a lot. And let me see, tell
Okay,
me.
you've got quite a
Yes,
few.
I do. Look at this. I'm probably going to have to snippet this out of this recording.
Oh,
And yes, there's so many courses, and so right now that's my challenge is finding the one. But let me see. Maybe I can go back and then see. Will this one tell me? Paul Psi. Okay, I'm going to write that down here somewhere. There's a lot of those. So, and this will be an interesting thing because this is not a course that's published, and it's not a course that's active. So,
this was so interesting. And so it's going to be, I mean, once you go back to that,
uh-huh.
it'll be the same video, but without the ads anymore, huh?
It's supposed to be the same video without the ads. And so I think that that is really helpful. Let me try something else. I'm going to go in settings and I'm going to go into navigation. And for now, especially since there aren't any students in here, I'm going to enable, let's see, studio. So let me see if I can find it. Here it is. I'm going to enable it just to see if it behaves differently, if it's actually in my course navigation menu, because that you saw that's a nightmare. And so let me go in here, click on studio and see if it gives me that. Yes. So what I would probably do if I had real students here is enable studio probably at 3 o'clock in the morning when they're not going to get confused or where they're not trying to move in here. And then go in here. So it was a lot easier to find as you saw, but I can access it both ways. I just it would take a while for me to go into the global navigation studio to try to find it. Well, so here it is, right? And so what I'm going to go ahead and do is click on it. If I mentioned that you can make these into, you can create quizzes within your studio videos. I don't know if you've done that yet, have you?
Oh, I haven't done that.
Yes, so you can do that. You would have to be in, I think, do you have to be in a page? It will be not at this stage, but it will be once you embed it in your page or wherever it is. But this here, we can show you how you can have your insights. And so you can see students here. This would show you all the students by name, and it would show you how much of the video they've watched,
Oh, okay.
which is,
Wow.
is helpful when we're wondering why is everyone making the same mistake when we gave them instructions, right? And then also for captions, you can see here that we can go ahead and add the YouTube captions. Let me see, new caption. Oh, here we would have to create captions. Let me see. We would select English, which is what Colbert is speaking, and then it would no caption lines yet. Okay. So one of the things we might have to do here is then have a hack where we go ahead and add those captions, I think. So let's see if we can go into our modules now.
But could we use the YouTube cap?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
We could
We
use,
can use the YouTube captions. And so how do you do that? Because I have a hack for that, but I'm wondering if it's similar.
well, generally what I do honestly is I use the YouTube captions and I just kind of check it over to make sure it's accurate. Uh,
Aha.
and I know
Yes.
that's not that's not completely the
No.
best way to do it, but I think that's kind of what I've been doing because I mean, making the captions from scratch
Oh
is
no.
such a time consuming
No. Yes.
thing that I tried that once and it was like I spent like 2 hours on it.
Oh, yes. No, no, no. That's when I hire my teenagers to do the captioning. Give
Like,
them a job. But no, no. I mean, with YouTube videos, and I don't know if you use, I mentioned it, I think, mine slips, but I always check to make sure that they have captions already
yeah.
before I decide to use something. If it doesn't have captions that I can readily kind of activate or make work, then I'm not going to use it because, I can't do that. But here, what we can see is that this is the version that is in studio. It kind of looks a little different. It still says YouTube and it still has a YouTube icon there. It has the more download caption. It has the more options icon there. If we scroll to the bottom, this is the original one that we embedded. Notice it just has a copy link, still has YouTube, and it doesn't look quite the same. The
Hmm.
edges of this video, of this thumbnail, are very crisp, while these seem to be a little bit rounded.
Oh, I
Maybe
see.
that's just me. Uh,
I think you're
but
right.
yes, but let's play it. Let's play and see. Pause. No ads.
Wow.
And do
That's
I have
great.
I don't have my hand up still, do I? That was weird.
So you don't have to mess with the um, question mark REL equals 0 at all then.
No, you don't. That's it. It's there. And then what we can do is let me go into edit and I'm going to go ahead and I could scroll in the bottom, put my cursor right after the video, and I can see it blinking there. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
And this is also, I know that you're an expert here, Mark, but this is just so, anybody who views this can see that. And what I'm going to do, I'm on a Mac, so I would hit the delete key. If you're on a PC, you would hit the backspace key. And I'm going to delete that because what I want to do now is show you how to embed it from from here. Now, what we did was these were videos that already existed in our course. And so I'm going to go into this little plug. And let me see if I have the direct one. No, I don't. So I'm going to go into this little plug and I'm going to hit the down caret arrow. And then I'm going to select Canvas Studio. And then it will show me options. It'll probably show me what's in my library. It might show me what's in my course. Let me see. Here, let me scroll down. Let me see. And I selected what's in my course. So we have a couple of options. In my course, you can see that this is the only one that's part of that. So right here, I can select it, and then it's going to ask me a couple of things. It gives me a description, which I love because sometimes we're like, what? Is this the right one? Especially if
Uh-huh.
we have a lot of different versions. You can go ahead and set it to begin at a certain point. If you really only want one joke and not the 11 minutes of that joke. And you can also go ahead and toggle this basic display media tabs. So by toggling this, before that was a default. But I think enough people were annoyed that then they'd have to come and re-embed that they've made the default not to show the media. But here, if we toggle on view media, and let me see if we have to, then we click on the blue button at the bottom right that's labeled embed media. And so what it does is that, and I'll save it here so you can see what it looks like when it's saved. I'm going to scroll down. Remember, this is the one that the version where we just left. It automatically converted. We didn't do anything to that. And then this is the version here where we went in and we embedded through the rich content editor. It's slightly bigger, right? It has the title right at the top, right here. And if we scroll downward, it shows the comments. So here, students can view the video and comment. We can leave we should always leave instruction for videos. So here I would say, please review this video and comment on the points you find most interesting. And so then students can comment here. Captions, I'm wondering if I still can't do the captions. English, no, it's still not letting. I'm probably going to have to bring that in, but that's okay. All right. So there's that. Then let me close this. Let me see if it would let me do it with this here. That's probably a topic for a different video. I'm trying to think if it will let me do it here. So let me see here. So here, if we click on, I'm trying to think if it'll let me do it. It might. Let me see the three dots here. No, it's not there. So I might have to create that somewhere else. The quizzes.
What
It's
is
been
it?
a
What is it?
while
What
since
is
I,
it that you're trying to do there again?
yeah, so it's been a while since I've embedded quizzes in the
Oh,
videos.
for quizzes. Okay.
Yes, but I'm trying to remember if it was once it's in the, once it's in the place embedded. Right now, it seems to be thinking a lot. I've learned that Zoom doesn't really like competing with videos. I don't know
Oh,
if you've
yeah.
noticed. So
Yeah.
when we're have a Zoom and we're trying to play a video or an audio, it kind of doesn't like that. But it was, let me see, caption options. Caption on options should be on English. Okay. And it's thinking a lot right now. So let me see if I can just go ahead and save. Um, and again, these are little things, I did this maybe did this maybe 2 months ago during the summer. And I don't know why right now it's not letting me do it. But typically, maybe I have to go into Studio itself. But typically, we can go in and then create those pop-up questions for the video. They're like a mini quiz. And I'm
Mhm.
wondering if it's not letting me do this because I'm in a page and not somewhere where points would be captured. But that doesn't sound right to me right now. So let me go into Studio and I'm going to see if it will let me three options remove from course. No. Let me see if I click here. No. I'll find it. It's going to be one of those things, where it's like, why didn't it let me do that? And
Yeah.
so these would be the different ways that then you can embed that. And you saw this was a brand new that I captured from here from YouTube, but it also did go in and check all of my migrations. So if I go again to YouTube migration, it will remember the last time I scanned. But notice now that instead of 50, it says 49. And why does it say 49? It's because that one, meet your instructor, it already took that one that I placed. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, it did
And
the one.
it did the one, and it tells me here that that one's converted. If I converted them all, I think what happens is that it tells me that I no longer have that. So I can do that there, and let's close that. Notice now that it says meet your instructor, all converted. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, I see. Mhm.
So this is kind of a nice thing, a nice touch, I think, to this tool because oftentimes we'll forget. Like, okay, I was already on a roll converting them. Where did I leave off?
Yeah.
And so this would clearly tell me where I needed to go back and maybe create that. And also, it no longer lets me review that because it's already been reviewed, which means that it should also already be in the studio. So if I go to the course navigation in studio, all three of them are there, even both versions, even though the same it's the same clip. It has like both versions of that. And
I see.
again, for all of you, if you go to your regular Canvas Studio in the global navigation menu, which is the far left, you should be able to see them as well in, the 10 courses that you have, posted. And it's craziness because all of those courses you saw are published and active, although, those are from reviewer stuff and from BOI and all that.
Yeah, right.
So
Right. Uh,
I don't know if there's anything else that maybe we can touch on. We still have half an hour. If you have any other questions or, anything you'd like to explore.
well, I think just I just want to make sure that I get how to do it. So I mean I've been doing with as far as getting the YouTube video in, I did the exact same thing that you showed me as far as
Mhm.
copying the embed code.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then I just and then I use the little cloud icon, right? And then it says, embed and then paste it right there. And then
Uh-huh.
I leave it at that. So now I just have to activate Studio.
Mm-hmm.
I have to activate Studio, the migration, make sure the migration's enabled. And then I guess I'm just a little worried about because, like, say, for example, at this point in this semester, um, I don't want to accidentally mess up the videos that I already have. And I'm not using very many videos that aren't ones that I just created, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, actually, there's quite a few in there that are, well, there's a lot. When you start looking at them, you realize, well, there's a lot of, yeah,
Mark, I'm wondering if you'd like to maybe share screen. And I mean, I
right?
know that I'm always nervous to do something in an active course where students are, moving about. But perhaps you have a BOI course, a practice sandbox where you have
Um,
videos and we can practice there.
yeah, I'm sure I must have something in there. Yeah, let's see if um, or I could just do an announcement. I could do the announce because that's what I've been doing lately is like making an announcement, like a weekly announcement, and then posting it.
Yes,
Um, I could just try opening that. Should I do that?
that sounds good. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Um,
You should be able to share screen. Let me see if I get a prompt up here.
it says you can request sharing for this meeting. Okay.
Okay, I allow. There you go.
Okay. And I think I have you on full screen here. Okay.
It's
Okay. So,
always the battle of the screens, isn't it?
yeah. Okay. So I'm going to go to share. Da, 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 da. And okay. Good. Okay. Share. Okay.
Oh, there it
Great.
is.
You can see now, right?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay. So let's see. Let me go into one of my courses here. So let's say, for example, announcements. Let's go into announcements, for example.
Okay.
So let's see, I think it's right in here. Oh yeah, so this
Hmm.
is a typical announcement video. Um, and let's see if I go to edit here. Um, yeah, so here, if I look at the code, I've
Hmm.
got the iframe thingamajiggy here, but I don't really need to mess with that right
No.
now, do I? I don't have to mess with that. So let's see. So I'm going to go to, I remember how I did this here. I'll go to settings, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And let me move this up a little bit here, settings. And from there, I'm going to go to feature options. Yeah,
Hmm.
feature options.
Yes.
Then go to YouTube,
Hmm.
content, and then enable it.
Yes.
So it's enabled. Then
Hmm.
I can go to, I think you said navigation,
That's typically where I go. And
and it should be,
I will save. I don't know why it doesn't take unless we save first.
oh, okay.
It's a
So,
weird thing. And now go back to navigation.
and there it is,
There it is. Hmm.
migration.
Hmm. So now you can use
Then I go
the.
to YouTube migration here. There we go. Oh, so I scan the course.
Hmm.
Okay, hang tight, it says.
Hmm. Oh, that was
Okay,
fast.
so I have 19 on this particular course. Now,
Uh-huh.
so announcements, I could go to that particular one, announcements. Now, I
Hmm.
may not have listed it as, for that one, I may not have put I think I didn't put the date.
Uh,
Maybe it doesn't matter, does it? I could just go to
it
one.
doesn't.
I'll go
Yeah.
to this one here,
Hmm.
and I don't know if that's the same one, but it doesn't
This
matter,
one's
I
for
guess.
September 2nd.
Okay,
Or
so this one here, wait, now let's see, wait, I got that there.
yes, use your backspace key in the browser and let's go back to that the migrations, the YouTube migrations.
Okay.
So here what you can do is you can use the review button
Oh,
on the
I didn't do
far
the
right.
review button. Okay. So I'll go to I don't know which one I was on. Let's go to this one here. Or maybe I should pick
Mhm.
one with the date just in case we get messed up. So this
Okay.
is September 22nd. I go to
Mhm.
review and convert.
Uh-huh.
Okay, 922. Okay, so it's converting. And
Mhm. It says converted.
so
Close.
close, right? I
Yep.
can close that. Okay. Okay, so that one, oh, so that one's done. So can I click on it now and go back?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay, so here it is. And there it is. So is that it? So is now if I play it, it's not going to have ads?
It shouldn't. Let's see. Let's see what happens here.
All right, well, here we go for the announcements for the week. One little change on the main page here, I just wanted to show you, it didn't is they didn't pop up, right?
They didn't pop up. You paused. They didn't pop up.
They won't
Of
pop up at
course,
the end either.
make sure that you're not missing anything. Go back and double check, turn in anything that's missing.
So I feel like this is a triumphant tool that Canvas
Wow,
is included.
that's so easy, actually. Now that I did it, I'm so glad I
Mhm.
got to do it with you here. That's pretty, I don't have to really mess with any code then.
No,
Um, that's pretty nice.
it
That's
is
really sweet,
nice.
actually.
It is because then what it does is that wherever you have those placed, it's going to go ahead and do the migration. And you saw it was seamless. Nanoseconds. I mean, it took more time to get to the page than it took to convert it.
Yeah.
And so I think that this will help, especially when most of us really don't want those distractions for our students.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, that reminds me one question. So, for example, let's say I'm in a module where I'm not, let's say, for example, like in my like say meet my professor one, right? Like
Hmm.
I've been reusing this one video that I made a while ago, right?
Hmm.
And when I copy my Canvas course to the next course, it copies along with it. I guess that will still copy along with it when
It
I,
still will.
whether it's migrated or not migrated, right?
Yes, it will. So right now, if you were to copy this to any other shell or real course, it would copy exactly the way it is with only the one announcement migrated, because that's only when you actually migrated. But then if you were to migrate the whole entire course of YouTube videos that you have, when you copy that, that will be copied. And if you want to ever find them, all you have to do is go to Studio, which I don't know if you have enabled here, but you can go to your global navigation studio, I think.
I'm go to studio here, you mean?
Uh-huh. And it shouldn't be so horrendous. I mean, like what I showed and shared. Yeah, so then go to course collections. I just want to make sure it's clear where you can find all of them. Oh,
Yeah.
you do have a nightmare too.
Yeah.
I mean, here you could probably go by your number. What was that?
I think it was six. Well, sometimes the same number. I think
Uh-huh.
I forget.
Let's see that one. Let's see. Because if it doesn't have them, if it hasn't been converted, it's not going to show anything. So
Was it 3062? But maybe I know that same number gets repeated sometimes. I
there it
wonder what
is.
that
Good
is.
memory. Yes. So this is great. And you can see it there. And I think that from here, there should be more things that you can do. And maybe I do have somewhere, I think, a webinar on how to embed quizzes. And that was one of the bits I wanted to share here. And I am not really sure why I wasn't able to. So click on your three dots there, your more options. And the thing is, I think that typically they're at the top. There's like a
Oh, there's three
well,
dots up here too. Let's see. Or no, that doesn't
yeah,
work.
those won't do it, huh? Or click on announcements, the title. Let's see, click on the three dots that are at the top most there. Let's see if those are no. So I don't know what's wrong with it. Don't get old. Mark. Because it is amazing to me how much will, and maybe it's because I don't use it over and over again, but I will know how to do something and then all of a sudden I can't. Let's see,
Well,
click instead of clicking on the title, click on the box, like the
this.
thumbnail.
Oh, this one. You mean this thing here?
No, above that, like where you have your calendar there.
Oh,
Yeah.
um, oh, okay.
And then, because I'm just keep saying, well, where is that? Because it was a very clear place. And then three dots on the top. Let's see. Or maybe that needs to be enabled. I don't think that I have any special admin, things that would let me. Oh, that's pretty good. So you can see there. your unique viewers. Oh, see, and this is you. You are the unique viewer, and it shows you where you started, where you paused, and where
Oh,
you fast forwarded.
yes, right, it did because I played the beginning and then I played a
Yes,
little bit of the end.
yes.
That's pretty cool.
That is cool because, well, not that students want to lie to us. It's just that they're embarrassed when we ask them, "Oh, did you view the video?" Midpoint, I address that or something. They're like, "Yes, yes, I viewed the whole thing." And then you're like, hmm. And it shows you completion rate 17%, and it'll give you the completion graph. And so it's pretty cool. So I think, I might not have webinars anymore this semester, but reach out if you want us to explore how to embed those pop-up quizzes.
Sure, yeah,
It
because
could,
it's I haven't tried. I mean, actually, I know that within Camtasia,
uh-huh,
you also do that. You can embed the video will pause, it will throw a question, but
hmm
it gets to be a little bit tricky in terms of like how you can really see the answers that people have given. Um,
right,
but I mean, I just haven't really used that feature. I don't know if I really need that feature or
right.
not. But I mean, it's always nice to have, more bells and whistles to play with, right? So.
It is. And I might be able to show where I have that. And so let me try to share again. And let me go into where do I need limited studio maybe here. Let me go into Canvas.
It looks like your
Um,
YouTube feed is pretty much the same as mine.
yes. Oh my goodness. I think I drive my whole family just bananas with it. Well, for me, I will have it going and then I will just listen to it. So,
Yeah.
and I'm grading, I'm doing other things. You'll notice I don't have inbox messages. And so that it's and then I have now that came in. But typically there aren't a lot. So here, let me see. Introduction quiz. Maybe that's partly why. Maybe the video has to be embedded in a quiz or an assignment. But here, this is one that was not migrated. So
uh,
this whole migration feature is maybe 3 weeks old. So,
it is.
so yes, it's brand new. So
Oh,
let's see here. So we got
there's,
this.
Hello and
I'm going
welcome.
to,
My name is Jeffrey Michaels.
and so let's see here. If we
Associate
were to
Vice
go
Chancellor, Chief Human Resources
forward,
Training.
let me
We're
see if it will
committed
do
to
it.
stay adapting and
No, it doesn't do
progressing.
it in this one. So, and then once you apply to one, it kind of just, here's this Canvas guide, how to take this quiz. So this is the same video, but it's a slightly different version because one of them I embedded without any quiz, and then I embedded another one of the same, right? But it
mhm.
kind of got tagged as slightly different. So here, notice that it gives us this sort of get started, right? And it has the captions and everything. And this was designed mainly. Let me see if it will let me do
Particular
that.
training offered through the district.
Let me see if it'll let me
If you're
do.
going to be that
Does
is
it show any
interviewing
of
part-time
them?
faculty.
There. So then
Oh,
what it does is when it reaches a certain point, then it's going to ask. And this one's about the equal employment opportunity representative. And so here it says you can still be voting member of the committee. You would say yes, or you would rewatch if that was something you missed, and
mhm.
then you
The
continue.
or candidates to
And
be
so it
part-time
kind of
faculty.
has these little,
At least
and then
one
for students,
person
it
that
doesn't show them
gone through this process
where
be passed
those
as an EEO
questions are going to pop up.
and we are going to make
Yeah.
the
And the reason for that, I think, is that it really helps students, like in this case for this training course, the video comes before the actual quiz. So it's like a practice quiz. It sort
Ah,
of says, review this video and then participate in the quiz. As they're participating in those quiz questions, those are very similar to the quiz questions I have in the actual quiz, which will determine whether they met the success criteria for that training or not. So for our students, and I should do this more, but it takes a while, is that I should have my videos where I kind of help guide them with like, okay, these are very similar to the questions you're going to have in the actual quiz, but you won't get penalized for doing for doing this. It's just training. And
I
so
see.
that way, when they get to the actual quiz, that maybe it will help in terms of retention, is the hope.
Interesting.
And so what I'm going to do this video, I don't control, but I'm going to ask Jen to go ahead and give me the link so that I can caption it and then video embed it here. But I did give you this Canvas guide, how to migrate embedded videos. It's in the comment section in case you want to just review that because it has, we covered almost everything, but it has other information that can really help. For example, what we didn't cover necessarily, I don't think, is what do we do when we have, when we're first creating something. So let's say, oh, and then I lost that. I lost my, this is why this is a nightmare for me. Look at all of this craziness over here. Um, yeah, it's going to take me a while to find that again. Practice. So this was for some other thing. That's going to say, I won't bore you with it, but what we can do is go in and then as we're embedding, because we can embed directly in an announcement, directly onto a page or anything we need. We wouldn't have to do all of that insanity. We could just embed it straight from. And we would use the rich content editor. We would click on the media option. And as we click down, it would either do studio and we can just go and pick YouTube. But we do need to, it's not very good at searching. So we do need to find the YouTube video we want to use and copy that link or the title before we go in and try to embed it. So at least that's what I've noticed, that it's not terribly great at searching. So
I see.
even, if we say I wanted to do something on, I don't know, Introduction to Ethnic Studies, if I go in and just type ethnic studies or intro to ethnic studies, it's not really going to spit out what I want. So what I have to do is do all that searching in YouTube separately. Then once I find what I want, either copy the title or the link and then go in through the Canvas, go to YouTube, get that link and do that. Good thing about doing that is that then it's a lot easier to do the captions as well because we already have the link to that video that we already verified has actual captions and not automatically generated captions, which are not accessible.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
So I'm going to stop this recording, but then, if you have any questions, we can continue on if you'd like. And so thank you very much.
I think, yeah, thank you so much too. That's very informational and helpful. I love the idea of just not having to, I mean, kids are so wrapped up in their social media and their YouTube and everything else that's like, you want to try to at least give them a little haven away from it for a few minutes when they're in Canvas instead of like, oh, let me go on a detour here again. So that's very helpful, I think. Yeah,
Yes,
super.
I agree.
Well, thank you.